What's up, YouTube? Real Mud Dog here, back again with another video on my 2017 Yamaha FZ-10. And today, as you can see, we are on the exhaust modification project here. Because if you're like me, you're not going to have the extra $2,000 laying around after you buy this thing for an exhaust. So we're going to do some mods to the stock exhaust and get this thing sounding a little bit better, delete that butterfly valve out, take the servo cables out, and I'm going to explain and walk you through everything, how to do it. It's pretty quick and easy, so let's jump right into it. Right here, as you can already see, I already did the mod. Okay, clean job, looks great, does the job. Alright, so pretty much you're going to take your silencer off, alright, your muffler, whatever, and it's 2 bolts. One 6mm Allen head right there, and then an exhaust clamp. That's it, off in 2 seconds. Not a big deal. Let's pretend that this is a full-length exhaust. This thing was probably about 8 to 8.5 inches longer. So let's just pretend that this mod isn't done yet. What are we gonna do? Obviously, drill out these rivets all the way around. Get this cap off. Then this little wiener thing right here is the end cap, okay, and that sits inside the end of the exhaust just like this, and this little tab sticks out right here. Excuse me. Now that piece is spot welded into this outside cover here, so you have to drill out the spot welds. Alright, I think I used like a small bit, and then I stepped it up to about a 5/16 to drill out the diameter of the spot weld. Alright, pretty easy. You don't have to go through both layers with the 5/16 bit, just the first layer just to break that spot weld. Okay, so once you have all the spot welds drilled around here, this end cap's not going to want to come out. Alright, so you're going to have to cut the exhaust right behind the end cap, go back about a little bit more than 1/2 inch, because the end cap sits in there a little bit. So go back 1/2 inch, cut the exhaust. Now, if you don't have, you can do this with a hacksaw. Okay, I had a bandsaws available to me, so I used the bandsaw to cut it. Made my job a little bit easier and quicker, but you can do this with hand tools for free in your garage. That's why I'm doing this. It's free, this whole upgrade. It's going to get the bike sounding better. We're also going to be talking about the butterfly valve, which I'll get to a little bit into this video, how to delete that, and I'll talk about the servo also, the exhaust servo for that butterfly valve. But we're just talking about the silencer right now. So once you cut that, the spot welds that you drilled out, you can put a relief cut, in that piece with the end cap in it, and then just peel this outside rim off the end cap. So then you have your end cap, and you're ready to start marking where you want to cut this. Okay. Now the inside tube, the inside baffle that runs through here is welded in there. It's fixed. So we're going to have to work around that, but it's not a big deal. What I did was I pulled out all the packing. Once I cut that end cap off, it's going to be a big mess, but just pull it all out, and we're going to reinstall it after this job is done. So I picked a spot where I wanted to cut it. You can use tape, go around it, measure from the end, make sure obviously you're making a straight cut. It doesn't have to absolutely be perfect, because that end cap and this piece right here are going to cover your job, but you want to make it obviously as straight as possible. So after you select your area you want to cut, you cut through the whole entire exhaust. So then you're just going to have a short can like this, minus the end cap obviously and stuff. You're going to have this hollow piece, the outside of the can, and your center baffle tube in there. So then what you want to do is take a file down the edge of this, the outside rim, and file down that baffle tube. Obviously we're putting the packing back in, or some packing back in, so you want to make this a clean edge all the way around, no burrs. Do it nice. It takes an extra 5 minutes. So after that's done, after you're done filing, stuff your packing. Start stuffing your packing in. Okay, I packed mine pretty tight again. It's, I guess, your preference, whatever you want to do, but I packed mine tight. After you're done packing, after you're done stuffing in the packing, okay, that baffle tube is, I think, 1.75 inch diameter. Alright, where this end cap meets the baffle tube, it's 2.25. Okay, so in order to not let your packing come out. Hold on 1 sec. Let's get in here with the light. That baffle tube right there, okay, has to connect with this end cap right here. All right, so once you're done packing the exhaust, you're gonna want to flare out with a pair of, like, you know, whatever, pliers, whatever you want to do. Get and flare out just the outside tip of this inner baffle tube before you put the end cap back on. Okay, you want to keep that packing inside there, because if this tube, that inner tube right there, is 1.7 or 1 3/4, and this tube right here for the end cap is 2 1/4, your packing is just going to go blow by this tube here, and it's going to start coming out the ass end, which I am having a little bit of packing. Even though I flared mine, I am having a little packing come out. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to run a bead of high temp epoxy around that inner tube right there, just to keep that packing in so it doesn't come out anymore. So once you're done flaring, you're going to take the end cap, you're going to insert it back into your exhaust here. You're going to have to work it around a little bit. It's a tight fit, okay, but seat that end cap all the way in. All right, once that's all the way in, then we can put this cover back on, this cap cover here, back on, and then we're simply just going to re-drill new holes for the rivets. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's only 4. Okay, so you're just gonna re-drill 4 holes right here. Take your 3/16, I think they're 3/16 inch rivets. All right, you're just gonna snap those back in. Okay, job done. Clean up the exhaust. Obviously, wipe it down with some brake clean, so you get all the oil off of it after you're done working on it. That's it. And then obviously I have the little cover off here, which goes over there, and install that back on. So you can do this at home for free. It's a little bit of fabrication. If you have a little bit of skill, you can pull off a clean job like this, no problem. Just take your time. Take you about 3 hours and about 6 PBRs. All right. So this is gonna definitely make it sound a lot better than that stock exhaust. I couldn't hear my bike running when the stock exhaust was on. All right, so that was a big issue, and you know, I'm not dumping $2 grand right now in an exhaust. So, okay, now that we have that silencer done, no problem, clean job. All right, all the way around. Now, let's talk about the servo and the butterfly valves. Okay, as we know, Yamaha is X-up valve, whatever you want to call it, butterfly valve, exhaust valve. There's a piece, where the hell did I put it? This cap sits over here like this. Okay, this cap just sits on here like this, and below this cap, you're gonna have 2 cables running from here, up behind here, up into here, to the exhaust servo. All right, and this is what controls that valve. We all know that. Okay, so we're gonna want to remove this. The cables for now. Later down the road, I'm gonna get a servo buddy, which allows you to delete the whole servo right out, because there's a plug here. If you unplug this plug and rip out the whole servo, you're gonna light on the dash, and I don't want that. So I just left the servo in. You disconnect this. You take these 2 bolts out right here, 2 screws. Pull this cap off. Just pull this out of place. Get the cables off the top. Put this back in. So now you have 2 cables dangling here. Come down to here, they run right up into the tail right here. Pull them out of here so you have the cables dangling here. All right, come down here, disconnect the cables. There's going to be a little cylinder piece right here with a spring mechanism that the cables go into. Disconnect the cables. Once the cables are disconnected, you're going to pull them out from right here, because the cables you can get to right here. You're going to pull them out from right here, from the bottom. That's the easiest way to do it. So the cables will be dangling here. Pull them out from right here. Not a big deal. Work them through the back side of all these tubes and wiring harness here. Pull them out from the bottom. Once that's gone, there's a little nut on top of this that holds that piece where the cables go into, and there's a retaining spring below it. Take that nut off, pull this whole thing out. This is how we're going to do this job. I know there's this guy, Ludicrous Speed, on YouTube. He did the Shorty exhaust also and did a butterfly valve delete. But he used a wire tie, a steel wire tie or something to tie up this, to tie the valve fully open. I'm going to go a little bit different of a route. If you guys have a welder, this will work. I'm using JB Weld, and I'll show you why in a minute. I don't have a welder handy at home, so this is the easiest way for me to do this. So once you take this spring device off here and all that, get all that crap out, the exhaust valve just pivots. I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you can't. This exhaust valve is attached to this screw right here. You turn this, it's going to open and close the valve in the exhaust. Alright, so obviously we want that exhaust valve at the full open position. So to keep it there, I pulled everything off here and I ran just a bead of JB Weld. Okay, get for your hardware, get from a hardware store for real cheap. A bead of JB Weld just around the pin that connects the exhaust valve. Now I already put the exhaust valve to full open because this is going to be fixed now. I want that valve to stay open, so just turn this valve, look down near your exhaust, turn the valve till it's fully open position. You'll see it. It's real easy. And then we're just going to come up here with some JB Weld, put some JB Weld around this pin to hold this exhaust valve open. There's really no stress on this part, so if you have a welder at home, you can just put a couple tacks around this, welding that pin to this steel bung right here. Alright, I didn't have a welder, so I just used JB Weld, whatever you want to use. So I just applied that. The JB Weld is still drying. Okay, once it's done drying, all I'm going to do, reinstall this top cap onto here, get my silencer back on the bike, tighten that up, put the covers back on, and then boom, it's done. Okay, so I obviously have the servo back in. The cables just run to underneath this cap right here. Not a big job. I put it back in the stock position. Never unplugged it. So once I get the servo buddy, it's 55 bucks. Visit our buddy Brian Van at sportbiketrackgear.com. He'll show you, he has a 2015 Yamaha R1 project bike. He goes over the servo buddy in detail. It's a little clip that plugs in. I think it's like 55 bucks. Delete this whole thing out of there and get you going without a light. It just tricks the computer. No big thing. Alright? So once everything is back installed, we'll be right back. I'm gonna put this put the exhaust back on, get this cap on there, the covers back on, and I'll show you what it looks like completed. Alright YouTube, we're back again. And I have everything fitted back up. Took about 5 minutes, not even. Look at these split working with the silencer right here. Alright, so this is what it looks like on the bike. Alright, good look. Got our cap back over the valve right there. Got our lower shield back on. Okay, easy stuff. Not a problem. Alright. It looks way better shorter. Alright. So let's see if we do a little sound clip here. So it sounds a lot better. I mean, I've already had the bike with the cut can for a while and stuff, but I just did the exhaust valve today. So it sounds a whole hell of a lot better with that valve open. So this is the cheap, easy way of doing it. It's free. Makes the bike sound great. Now, with that being said, you're probably going to lose a couple horsepower by doing these exhaust mods. Alright? Yamaha doesn't put all this stuff on here and dyno it and do countless hours of data logging and programming to, you know, for nothing. Alright, so by chopping the silencer and by removing that exhaust valve, the bike is tuned and fuel mapped and tuned for what they had the bike as, you know, with the valves and the stock silencer. So most likely, you're going to be losing a couple horse by doing this. Okay? I don't know for sure, but I'm just assuming because now we're altering from the stock tune, we're altering parts here, the flow is the back pressure. So most likely you're losing maybe a horse or two. Alright, so you're not going to probably not going to gain power by doing this. With that being said, it sounds a whole hell of a lot better, and you actually hear your bike running. So let's do a little sound clip here, see if I can get a good clip. revving it up to 3 grand. Okay, I'm barely even touching it. This thing sounds way better. Right? Way louder, way more growl, way more bite. It actually sounds like an R1. All right, sounds great, works good, way better sound. Okay, if you're wondering, oh, it's not going to give me that much of a sound difference, trust me. By cutting the can down, removing that exhaust valve, night and day difference with sound from this bike. Whole nother animal. Sounds great. You'll actually be able to hear your bike run now. So, if you want to keep the cheap way, you're thinking about doing this, definitely do it. Take the time, drink a couple beers, get the job done. It's worth it in the end. Trust me. Alright, so hopefully this clip will help you out. If you like it, press the like button, subscribe. I'll be bringing more videos of the FZ-10 as much as I can with little mods here and there. I still want to do a mods list video that I want to get out. But hopefully I'll be able to do some moto vlogging so I can take you on board what it's like to ride this thing. And we'll hit some twisties and get this thing going so you guys can actually get a feel for you know, what it's like riding over here in the United States. There's a lot of videos of dudes riding the MT-10 in Europe, hammering down and stuff. There's not so many, not as many people over here in the States really hammering these things yet, so I'm going to try and get a couple good videos out of onboard footage with this thing. So, until next time, keep the shiny side up.